Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Aditya. I'm a consultant in arthroscopy, sports injuries, and shoulder surgery at Dr. L. H. Hiranandani Hospital, and we'll be discussing an interesting surgery, the bony Bankart repair today. So, bony Bankart can be classified as just a glenoid fracture, or a comminuted bony Bankart, or a single one-piece bony Bankart. Now, why is this important? See, bony Bankart is as such very important because if it is not addressed in the acute scenario, then it can lead to resorption of the fracture fragment and can lead to bony instability in the future. It can be addressed in a non-acute fashion, but the healing of the bony fragment to the glenoid neck is variable. So it's always advisable to address the bony Bankart in an acute manner. Now, the technique which we are going to describe here is described by initially Millet. So essentially, one or two medial anchors are used on the glenoid neck, and with the help of a suture bridge kind of a technique, they are buried over the glenoid lateral face. Also, additional superior and inferior anchors are placed. So it's very important to remember that the superior and inferior anchor placement and knot tying should take place before burying the medial row of anchors, the sutures emanating from them on the lateral glenoid face. That will give good amount of rotational stability to the bony fragment. Millet has shown very good results with this technique in his studies. Now coming to the case, our case is a 26-year-old male. He had one episode of dislocation, right dominant extremity. On the MRI or the CT scan, it showed a significant bony fragment, 1.8 centimeters in length, 1.3 centimeters in depth, and 1.1 centimeters in breadth. So this is the CT scan, and these are the MRI images. So we decided to address this arthroscopically. This is the posterior viewing portal. You can see here all the cartilage debris is removed with the help of a shaver. Generally, for my instability surgeries, I prefer a lateral decubitus position. In addition to the standard portals used, an accessory 5 o'clock portal may be required here, especially in addressing bony Bankart. Now, the slab is always assessed before we establish the anterosuperior portal, otherwise the space may get distorted. We switch the viewing portal to the ASL and we visualize with a bird's eye view of the glenoid. You can see a significant bony defect, that's the posterior labrum, and then top corner you can see that there is a small tear. With the help of an antegrade suture passing device, we pass a suture through the capsulolabrum. It will help us in giving some amount of traction to the bony fragment while elevating it from the glenoid neck. So with the help of this elevator, we gradually elevate the bony fragment from the glenoid neck. Again, we are able to see that the capsulolabral tear extends till nearly 7 o'clock of the glenoid. So that will also require some sort of a repair. So you can see that the bony fragment is visualized now. The 5 o'clock portal is established. I have a hip arthroscopy system also which has a cannulated Wissinger rod. So I can pass the guide wire first through the spinal needle and then the cannulated Wissinger rod can be passed over it. These are curved drill guides and curved drills which will help in getting a good hold on the glenoid neck. With a straight guide, your drill can skew off the glenoid neck. So these kind of curved anchors are quite essential and very useful in these kind of surgeries where you need to put anchors on the medial glenoid neck. Depending on the fragment size, one or two anchors may be used. Note that I don't remove the inserter, but I reinsert the guide wire, and then with the help of a lasso kind of a device, I'll be going again around the fragment and passing a Netinol wire loop into the joint. Now with the help of a Wissinger, I elevate the bony fragment and pass the Netinol wire around the fragment. So you can see that here, and then essentially both the sutures from the anchor are passed around the fragment. This is quite essentially the most essential part of the surgery. Once this is done, it is like any straightforward Bankart repair that you do. Now since this is a significantly large fragment, I'll be using one more anchor a bit superiorly. So a single loaded anchor inferiorly and superiorly is more than adequate. Generally double loaded anchors are not required in the glenoid neck. Again the same sequence of steps are repeated. The lasso is used to pass the sutures around the bony fragment. And in a retrograde technique, the sutures are retrieved. The posterior labrum is addressed now. Now it's a small tear, so with the help of a lasso, I retrogradely pass a suture tape and I create a cinch loop. So I take two tails of the fiber tape and pass it through its own loop to create a cinch kind of a knot. This gives a good tissue hold and prevents any tearing out of the tissue. This is buried over a swivel lock. Over a push lock. So push lock is a knotless anchor which can be used for knotless labral repair. After the push lock is inserted, the suture is cut. Then we turn our attention to the anterior glenoid face. It is gently rasped. Then the 5 o'clock anchor is inserted. So we insert the anchor at 5 o'clock, not 6 o'clock, because we are retensioning the capsulolabrum. The inferior tail from the suture is passed with the help of a lasso from the posterior portal. It gives us a better bite on the inferior labrum, especially the labrum at 6 o'clock. So once this is done, the superior tail is passed through a lasso from the anterior portal. Once the suture passage is complete, the knots are sequentially tied and the sutures are cut. Now we turn our attention to the superior anchor above the bony fragment. Again a double loaded anchor is used. The sutures are passed, knots are tied, and subsequently the sutures are cut. This is essentially like any other bank cut repair we do. Finally, the sutures from the medial row anchors which were parked outside cannula initially are taken in. One suture from each of the medial row anchor are withdrawn into the anterior cannula. Now the whole process is like doing a speed bridge kind of a technique for a rotator cuff tear. So two of these sutures are buried with the help of a push lock on lateral glenoid face. So this gives a very good tension band kind of a repair which compresses the bony fragment against the medial glenoid neck and gives a very watertight repair. The sutures are cut flush to the glenoid. And the same thing is repeated with the other pair of sutures. So you can see the second push lock being inserted. So the 5 o'clock portal is very essential for putting the medial row anchors. The rest of the anchors can be placed through the standard anterior portal. So once these sutures are cut, we can evaluate our final repair. You can see that there is a very good compression of the bony fragment and the capsulolabrum to the glenoid. You will not be exactly able to see the bony fragment, but you can feel for it as it is hidden by the capsulolabral tissue. So that's the area of the bony fragment, and you can see that there is a very good compression there. restores the glenoid shape. You can view the same repair through the posterior viewing portal, and you can see a good compression of the fragment. So that's the final repair. This is the result after 8 months. The individual has restoration of complete range of the shoulder, doesn't have any instability, and is able to do some exercise activities. I would like to thank the entire team of IAS for this wonderful opportunity. I think this is a great platform where surgeons can share their videos, especially surgical videos, and it's something nice which people can pick up and use as it as a learning opportunity to look at what everyone is doing and probably to improve the surgical skills. Thank you.